Welcome to the Late Night Race Review. Verstappen finishes the season like he began and wins Abu Dhabi at a canter. Perez gets his elbows out and gets slapped in the process. And Leclerc gets crafty to try and steal some positions. It's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We wrap it up with a look at our fantasy league and our predictions game, as always. Don't forget to support the podcast by hitting those like, follow and subscribe buttons. Welcome back to the Late Night Race Review. I am Owen Scott, and with me, as always, is Dave Jericho. And the Bolivian boy toy is Sergio Consalves. You like that one? That's what took me the most time preparing today, was getting that name together. In a race where there was many, many battles, but I think the main battle that we all had was trying to stay awake. Dave, sum it up for me. The last race of the season, the finale. Did it grab you by the balls?
It grabbed something, all right. It was terrible. It was just a snooze fest. I think the last lap was the most exciting. The opening lap or two, and then the last lap or two was, and then everything in between. Forget about it.
So enthusiastic. Sergio, give me your sum up. Any positives to pull from this one?
Like they were saying, the first and second lap was quite interesting to see Leclerc fighting for the first place with Verstappen. And then again, the last lap, Leclerc fighting for Ferrari to get the second place in the Constructors. That was the most exciting. And overall, I think the Tsunoda, I was keeping an eye on Tsunoda to see if he finished on the points. This was a great race for him and AlphaTauri.
Yeah, I'm against talking about Tsunoda, so we're not going to talk about that again. Thanks for that. Red Bull and Max Verstappen, resounding season, just unbelievable. And I think the turn one and the rest of the race for Verstappen really summed up his season, Dave, didn't it? Just dominant.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I think freaking Max probably had one of his worst races of the season. He only finished 17 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc in second. It was look, like what a season. I mean, he's we said it countless times, it's the perfect combination of an amazing driver and an amazing car. And I hope it stays like that for next season, but we get other combinations that can sort of compete with it. I don't want to see the Red Bull fall off or Max Verstappen lose form or something like that. I want to see another team like McLaren or something step up and Lando Norris fight with him, or whoever it might be, or if it's even Lewis Hamilton trying to get that 8th title, whatever. I really want to see that next season. But as for his race today, I mean, he had to stick his elbows out a bit, and I think he just went on autopilot, even when it looked like Leclerc was close by, and he was keeping within sort of like a second and a half, 2 seconds. I think he was just cruising. He just looking after the tires, knew he didn't have to do much, knew he had the pace, and then look, by the end, 17, 18 seconds. I know Leclerc slowed down a little bit towards the end, but he was still going to finish probably about 15, 16 seconds ahead. So, cracking race, and another third. Well, we already knew he won the third world title. Although he's won, he's won all but 3 races this season. Yeah. I mean, what the fuck?
Absolutely unbelievable. I don't know if it talks about how dominant he is and Red Bull are, as opposed to how bad maybe some of the other teams were this year.
Combination of both. I mean, we have to think as well that McLaren didn't come into the scene until Silverstone. Then sort of around that same point, Aston Martin, are the voices in your head talking to you there, Scotty? You just drifted off.
I'm watching the F1 to the right there.
But no, like, I mean, the McLarens didn't come into their own until Silverstone. And then it was sort of in around the same time when Aston Martin brought their upgrades and they tailed off. Although even when they removed those upgrades, they had that brief stint where we thought, oh, they're looking like they're back to their old self again. And it obviously just wasn't panning out. But had maybe McLaren had a bit of a better start to the season, I think maybe they could have secured probably second in the drivers' standing if they had the form they finished on. So that's what I'm saying. Next season, I'd like to see not I want to see Red Bull be as dominant and Max being as dominant, but I want to see some other teams and drivers stepping up their game. I think that'd be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, we need it. We really do need it. Isidro, Max Verstappen's teammate for now, anyway.
Who is Isidro?
Isidro, yeah. Well, I mean, he'd be as useful, I'd say, as SergioPerez has been this season, in fairness. Talk to me about Perez. Perez today. He's only near the end of the season starting to come into a little bit of form again. Yeah, tell me about his race today.
I think he's coming back for the last few races, and today, if it was that mistake with Norris, I think we would have a different grid and a different results on the constructors. But overall, I think he's coming back to his form, but a little bit too late. Although say that enough to keep the seat in Red Bull for 2024.
Yeah, great.
If he keeps his form as it is now, we're going to see a good beginning of the season. Let's see if it doesn't fall from that.
Yeah, as we said last week, I mean, if it's not completely broken, there's no point in trying to fix it, because he has done an okay job when you look at the results near the end of the season. Dave, tell me about the Norris and Perez clash. Did he deserve the 5 seconds?
Yeah, it was a bit naughty. It was a bit. I wonder though whether I think he still probably in the long run would have had pace to take that position back anyway. So it was probably a little bit of a panic move maybe in the moment rather than thinking of the long game. But yeah, he pushed him off. He deserved the penalty. But in the end, ultimately, it made no difference to anybody. Like in the end.
Yeah, as you say, Perez really didn't have anything to play for today, really, did he? Other than pride. So maybe a bit foolish to actually lunge in there and try and take that position rather than waiting, because he clearly had the pace. Leclerc, guys. We'll move on to Ferrari. Charles Leclerc again.
We're going through this quick fire because
there's nothing else to talk about.
Everybody.
Charles Leclerc again showing a little bit of form coming into the end of the season. This is what we would have hoped that he would have done throughout the season, but he hadn't. It gives us a little bit of promise, Dave, maybe for next season that he can maybe continue that on.
I don't have any hope for Ferrari. I've lost since 2008. I've lost all hope for Ferrari. I just like even the fact of them getting pole positions and finishing second and on the podium. I still see McLaren being the biggest threat next season to Red Bull than Ferrari. I just see, like, if you were to see a graph of growth, like, you know, you would see McLaren sort of more on a steady incline, whereas Ferrari would look like a fucking the cryptocurrency markets, like going up and down. So I was, but I have to say, but if Leclerc gets maybe one more pole position, doesn't he equal the most pole positions for any for any Ferrari driver? Which
I mean, it's great and all, but
no, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but this is where I'm going with it. Like, I mean, but he's just not converting it. With I don't think it's necessarily him. The car has that one lap pace. But he just, or not, he doesn't. The car doesn't have the race pace. But
it's like getting an award for the nicest football boots in a match or something.
Yeah, exactly. But today at the start, I thought when there was 2 seconds, he was 1.4, and then he dropped 2 seconds back, and then it was like 2.1, 2.2, and stuff like that. And like the undercut was the more powerful, and I was like, oh, they should make the move now. The tires are dropping off. He's dropped back by a second. Make that move now. Come in for the pits, and he didn't. They waited until it was fucking like a couple more seconds, and then Max Verstappen came in. And he came out like 4 seconds ahead of Leclerc or something like that, or 3.5 seconds ahead of Leclerc. And you're thinking, no, had Leclerc made that move, it would have been tight to see whether Verstappen, if Verstappen had pitted second, it would have been tight to see whether Verstappen would have come out behind or in front of Leclerc. That would have been a nice little battle. but ultimately over the course of the race, they didn't have the pace. And I don't think it was anything to do with the tires or anything. They just genuinely just did not have the pace to compete with the Red Bull. So, or not even the Red Bull, because obviously Perez wasn't able to do to take those positions. So it more just couldn't compete with Max and the Red Bull. So, yeah, I have more hope for McLaren next year than Ferrari. I think Ferrari could be looking at a third place in the constructors next season. Actually, even worse if Mercedes sort their fucking shit out as well.
Yeah. Isidro, we were just talking before we came on to record about the standings of the race, and Dave noticed that he didn't notice that Carlos Sainz got himself a DNF. They retired the car near the end. Just a bad day for Sainz today.
Well, not only today, I think for the past two races, whatever bad luck Leclerc was having, it went to Sainz. And Leclerc is shining and Sainz is dropping in every single race. And today was just another example. Not only Sainz bad luck, but Ferrari's strategy was not the best. I mean, they were hoping for a safety car to get points to get the Constructors Championship. What's second place in Constructors Championship? Sainz didn't help, but I don't think it was his fault. The FP2 accident didn't help, and since then, the rest of the weekend was wrecked for him. Even today, we could see that he wasn't there, and at the end, he got no points. He retired silently. I barely noticed that he was gone. Only now, when we were talking, that they point out, the NF for Sainz. Yeah, it was a sad end of season for Sainz, I have to say, considering that he's in Ferrari. He was doing an okay season, but the past 3-4 races, it was a disgrace overall.
Sainz was already at home with his feet up playing FIFA by the time the race finished. Quick plane, quick exit, gone. Ferrari, we have, I would consider probably two of the most talented drivers on the grid, yet we constantly seem to be coming back to this, unlucky for Sainz, unlucky for Leclerc. Is the common denominator just Ferrari, Dave?
It's like the perfect combination with Verstappen and Red Bull. Like they've got a perfect winning combination, and I think Ferrari have an unusual combination where you've got great drivers, but maybe sort of sometimes get ruled by emotions and make reckless decisions, accompanied by very poor decisions from their pit wall for race strategies from time to time. And then also just that car is not suited for certain tracks and certain, it was just so hard on tire wear and stuff. So it's just their package this year, just everything about it, driver confidence. So I do think they've got a great driver pairing, and I think it's worth them keeping both drivers happy for the foreseeable future. They should keep both of them, I think. But I can imagine if Red Bull don't get rid of Perez for next season, which, like Isidro said, I probably doubt they will now, considering he is starting to show a little bit of pace and a little bit of form coming back. So I think it'll be why change it now? But certainly the year after, I can imagine they're trying to tap up someone like Sainz or something like that, and sort of maybe encourage him not to sign a new long-term deal with Ferrari, and there'll be a seat there at Red Bull, but who knows?
Yeah, that would make sense, certainly. Now, on to George Russell. For someone who seems to, in my mind anyway, he seems like he is, he's been more dominant than his teammate this season. He seems to show up on podiums quite a lot. Hamilton has outdone him completely in the driver's standing. Go on, Dave.
Hang on, before we just jump into how George Russell's race went, we fucking completely forgot to mention what Leclerc was trying to do at the end of the race there.
Oh yeah,
by helping Perez out. Like, I mean, Jesus, that was probably the big. How did we forget that? That's
that
actually
was
one
the
of the
main
biggest
thing.
things that happened in the whole fucking race. Like,
that's how boring it was. Yeah, Dave, take us through that little move. That was class.
So if Ferrari are, if we're doing the awards presentations, Ferrari get probably their drivers get the most kind of ingenious sort of racing tactic, because we had obviously Sainz earlier on in the season who was doing the DRS, keeping I can't remember who it was. He was keeping behind the DRS to hold his position, like, which was absolutely phenomenal. And then you had Leclerc today saying, I'm going to back off basically to give Perez the DRS so that he can finish 5 seconds ahead of George Russell. And in turn now, in hindsight, now we've obviously, before we jumped on here, I don't think it would have given them the second place in the constructors, because I think they would have finished tied, and with a count back, I think it would have led to Mercedes probably finishing top. But I'm not 100% sure. No one quote me on that. It could be completely fucking wrong, but it certainly would have been close anyway. But still, baller move. I love that type of shit. That reminds me of the 2021 Jeddah race when Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, neither of them wanted to go over the DRS line first, so they kept braking before they hit. I love that shit. That is just unbelievable thinking in a high pressure race. Like, so yeah. That's all. I wanted to give an honorable mention to that maneuver.
Yeah, very, very clever. We've seen it before with Leclerc. I think it was, so you put Jeddah in my head there, Bahrain, maybe at the start of this season, but if it wasn't, it was the start of last season, the first race of last season, where Verstappen and Leclerc were constantly trading back DRS zones. Do you remember? It was over the space of maybe 4 laps.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just being able to have the wherewithal to understand that, you know, if I give him this here, I can take him there.
And we thought we were going to have a close season.
I know how wrong we were. Oh, at the same time. Yeah, no, fantastic. Isidro, what did you think of the tactician Leclerc?
It's amazing how Leclerc must be the driver, the strategy. I think the next step is probably get out of the car, replace the tires, get inside and move on, because clearly there's no one else in the Ferrari, just the drivers. Apparently, they need to focus on the race, focus on the strategy. I mean, it's a mess, but fair play to Leclerc. At least he tried to help the team, since the team was letting them down the whole season.
Go on, Dave.
Sorry, I just wanted to make the correction that I made earlier. So yeah, Charles Leclerc, he will be not the most successful. Of course, that'd be Michael Schumacher. He would be second. He's tied second, or I think currently tied second with Niki Lauda. So the second most successful driver to get pole positions, or the most pole positions for Ferrari. He's second there.
There's your lovely little medal with a bowling guy on the top of it, Charles. Well done.
Exactly. Stick it right here on the refrigerator.
Doesn't even the right sports person on top. Shitty plastic trophy. All right. We were moving on to George Russell. I had mentioned that I felt that George Russell was more successful than Lewis Hamilton this season, but it just seemed to be that way because he was probably more vocal. I think Hamilton has gone about his business quite quietly and well throughout the year, and finished on top of Russell. Dave, give me a rundown of George Russell's race today. He kind of again just silently went about his business and did the job.
He did, yeah. He had some great pace on the fresh tires. He was, I mean, look, yeah, it was. That's I thought when Perez got the penalty, I was like, geez, he's gonna maybe struggle to keep Perez behind, and yeah, I don't know. Actually, you know, I'm saying that he had great pace and stuff like that. He had great pace, I think, on the fresh tires, but they kind of quickly went off because every time he, you know, sort of the first sort of maybe 4 or 5 laps on those fresh tires, it looked like, you know, he was kind of catching anyone ahead by sort of a considerable margin, and then he just sort of always just stagnated and just went nowhere. But I mean, he finished he didn't. Where he finished third? Sorry, today.
Russell third, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, he did finish third today. Sorry,
The penalty, yeah, brought Perez back.
But yeah, look, good race. Overall, overall for the season, I know we're not doing a season review and stuff like that at the moment, but I expected more from him. I don't know. I expected him to be more aggressive, and I know he is at times aggressive, but I just expected him to be a bit more of an aggressive driver. Yeah, we'll wait and see. 2024, I guess we'll see when he's got maybe a little bit of a better car underneath him. But yeah, I just expected a little bit more from him. But then again, I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether anyone's seen the stats of the side by side Lewis Hamilton versus George Russell. To see who did what. I was trying to find it there. Sorry a second. I just can't quickly see if I can find any sort of stats here.
Well, I mean, points wise, there's a huge gap between them. Hamilton on 234 and Russell on 175, from third down to eighth.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the head-to-heads here.
I didn't feel as if the gap was as big as that when I looked at the final results. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it was. Oh, look, they didn't have a great car. I mean, look, you only have to look at how Lewis Hamilton's had some absolutely atrocious, not just results, but qualifying sessions as well. Been absolutely piss poor. So, yeah, look, that sums up that sums up Mercedes' season, I think.
Yet still finished third in the Drivers' Championship, Lewis Hamilton. Absolutely crazy.
But again, that's where we go back to what we were saying about Aston Martin and McLaren, though. Like they were the kind of the rivals, and like McLaren didn't pick up till Silverstone, and Aston Martin dropped off. So had those two kind of maintained their peak form of the season all season, like the way say Verstappen held his peak form all season, then easily Mercedes would have finished probably fourth or fifth or something like that behind. But behind them, I'm sure probably Ferrari would have finished behind McLaren and Aston Martin had they maintained their peak form all season. So just Mercedes were just consistently shit all season, like, and just because of that consistency, they got second place. Whereas fucking Aston Martin and McLaren, taking McLaren example, they started out shit and became good as the season went on. Had they maintained being good, they would have taken that second place. My logic makes no sense. I have no sleep so for the last fucking 36 hours or whatever, so I don't care.
Worrying about the future of F1, no doubt. Isidro, come here to me. Let me know what your thoughts were on Mercedes, in particular George Russell, I guess, today, but you can talk about Hamilton as well if you want, because he finished in 9th and I've got no notes on him, so you talk away.
No one cares.
Hamilton had a terrible weekend. I mean, he was out on Q2 on Saturday, so that says a lot about the state of that Mercedes. And George Russell race, it was as quiet as his season 2023 was. He was always getting points, finishing on top 10 most of the time. And at the end, he just finished third without realizing or without having too much effort. He started P4, finished P3, knowing well that Perez was getting the 5 seconds penalty. So no worries there, despite Leclerc attempt. On Hamilton, I think he was complaining since the beginning of the race. And it proved that it never really was a threat to podium or even finish on the points. I mean, he got P9, barely got the P9, but overall, there was nothing worth fighting today rather than pride itself. Mercedes Championship with Russell, the way that Russell was doing, Leclerc was doing, Sainz was off the points. So I think Hamilton, as long as stay there on the fight for points, P9, P10, would be fine at the end.
Right, let's move on to brighter topics. McLaren, the Papaya Army, absolutely unbelievable in the last few races. Finishing today 5th and 6th. Seemed to be some promise that they were going to go a little bit better than that, especially Norris near the end, but somewhat dropping off. Dave, give me your review of McLaren. Start off with Norris, I guess.
for the race today. Yeah, I expected more. I expected a second place. Easy, like, well, not easy, but I expected a second place. Definitely showed great pace at the start. The two McLarens looked like they were going to absolutely swallow fucking the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc at the start of the race, and just never happened. And I don't know, just they maybe didn't maintain their tires or something, but I don't think it was necessarily car performance. But it just didn't happen. Yeah.
A horrific pit stop for Lando Norris at one stage. Is there any was there a conclusion to what happened there? Did you see that?
Didn't it just look like a rear left or something like that was slow going on? Now, I could be wrong, but it just looked like, in the replay, it looked like a rear left or something like that was slow going on. But
someone on Sky Sports said it was something maybe to do with a clutch or something. It was something that Lando did on the steering wheel.
Oh, did they? Because last I heard, they were saying that he might have overshot his mark on the coming into the pit stop. Maybe, but which it can obviously cause a kind of a second sort of loss on that pit stop, because obviously all your mechanics are sort of ready for something that's right in front of them, and then all of a sudden it's sort of a foot to your right or your left, so it does slow it down, which is ridiculous, but that's how quick it is. But rather than just talk about, because I'll be honest, everybody's races were anonymous to me today. I just thought they were all shit. So rather than talk about that, McLaren's fucking pit stops. We used to always talk about fucking not Ferrari, Red Bull just being the master, and Williams just being absolutely biblical at their pit stops. But McLaren just unbelievable. Like they got 1.8 fastest fucking pit stop ever. And that's with these new heavier wheels and tire, like fucking unbelievable. Like that's more important and more interesting than the race.
It really is. It really is. Yeah, look, the rest of the race, or the rest of the people in the race, anyone with any honorable mentions in the race other than that?
You're going to hate my honorable mention.
Oh, God, is it YukiTsunoda?
It is YukiTsunoda. He fucking drove a great race. And I know they hung him out there a lot longer than he should have to try and get those safety cars, which just never came. But even still managed to finish 8th. I don't know. I think that was a cracking drive from, and he led races, like he led laps, like, which was, I know we were out of sync actually. And before we go fucking any further, because my brain's only fucking remembering things, it's like fucking PTSD and flashbacks. This race was the only interesting things that were kind of going on about this race, when commentators were going, oh, look at Joe, such and such close to him and overtaking, blah, blah, blah. You're like, this was only because cars were out of sync with their pit stops. Yeah. Do it was like, oh, look at Lewis Hamilton overtaking fucking Alonso, whoever it was. And you're like, yeah, he hasn't fucking made his pit stop yet. It makes no fucking difference in the world. And that was literally the commentators' kind of excitement, was cars that were on old tires being overtaken by cars on brand new tires. And you're like, wow, this is a shit race. And like, it was made more shit because Las Vegas was so fucking good. Like, Las Vegas should have been the finale. Like, yeah. I mean, the spectacle, I'd happily, as much as I hate the whole circus and roadshow that goes around Formula One, I'd happily make Las Vegas the season closer.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I'd happily do that at this moment in time. Like, the Abu Dhabi one, other than the fucking finale between in 2001, in 2021, 2001, Jesus, in 2021. Other than that, it's largely a crap race. It's largely boring as fucking sin. And that race, that 2021, sorry, I'm on a rant now. I'm too tired. That race in 2021, that was a shit race as well. The ending was only fucking exciting because of how it panned out. So I'll be honest, the Las Vegas race, the actual circuit, the racing, the overtakes, it was much more fucking exciting than this. So yeah.
I think what you're saying really, Dave, is that there should be a call for a special F1 team to be invented that just comes around one race at the end of the season, and there's only one driver for the team, and that's Latifi, and he gets to race in the last race of the season in whatever car he wants.
Exactly. Well, that's it. Yeah. Could you imagine that? They just bang Latifi out in the Red Bull or something.
Yeah, no, in a fucking Ford Escort.
Oh, that's what you mean by any car, like
Yeah.
like a fucking Cortina or something
Yeah, just
like
let
that.
him spin about the place and hit a few people.
In a Cadillac, like a whaling ship out on the fucking going around corners, like.
It's what we need. It's what we need. We did. It was crying out for a Latifi today, wasn't it?
It was. It needed two safety cars.
Yeah.
And it was. It needed a lot more. Like I said, any overtaking and stuff that was going on, it was on cars that were out of sequence in pit stops and stuff like that. It was shit. Like, so let's just fucking put a fucking shotgun to it and finish up.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that. Will we have a look at driver of the day, loser of the day? The fans were the losers of the day today, but will we go through it?
Yeah. Let's fucking meet our contract obligations.
Go on, Dave.
All right, my driver of the day. Oh fuck, hang on. Yeah, all right. You know I'm going. Oh fuck.
YukiTsunoda.
My driver of the day. I'm going Charles Leclerc. Driver of the day, just for that fucking baller move to try and do something. He's like, otherwise it was I could easily have given it to YukiTsunoda, but I've given him his honorable mention. Like, it's not a participation medal for everybody, so I'm going with Charles Leclerc. Maintained second place, where he could easily have been swallowed up by those McLarens, and made a baller move to try and fucking get his team the second place in the driver's title or in the constructor's title. So for that, yeah, I'll get, and I'm sure he got 0 votes for the official driver of the day. I have no idea, but I'm giving it to him. Okay.
I am going to go with something that is probably going to be wildly unpopular, and for an absolutely flawless race, with 0 competition whatsoever, I am going to give just this once. My driver of the day goes to Max Verstappen.
Because the race wasn't shit enough, you had to ruin our driver of the day as well.
I mean, us giving driver of the day to anyone else throughout the season is basically because this guy is on a different level from everyone else.
Yeah, there's no point in giving him a driver of the day. Like, we know he's driver of the day. This is just kind of like making someone else feel better about themselves.
It is, as you say, a participation trophy. It's ultimately
actually,
what it is.
Isidro, before you give us your driver of the day, what was the official driver of the day?
YukiTsunoda, 24.2%.
See, I gave him the honorable mention. That's what I said. That's why I didn't give him my driver of the day. Like, I'm going to back
Charles
myself
Leclerc
up
was
there.
second.
Who?
Charles Leclerc was second, 14.3%.
There you go. See, look, I'm telling you.
The man wins by plus 17.9 seconds and doesn't even get a look in. Was he even third?
Who?
Verstappen.
Who? Exactly.
Verstappen.
Yeah,
he was 59% of the votes.
Oh my God.
Verstappen.
Or what was it that Sky Sports said at the end?
Oh, Verstappen there's no Verstappen, Max Verstappen or something like that.
Yeah.
Gross. Isidro, go on.
Oh, it's Tsunoda. He deserves to have the day for me.
I know who's not going to be on our 2024 podcast.
Yeah, fucking YukiTsunoda. All right, flippity flip flop of the day. Who's the loser?
I think it's 2 weeks in a row I've given it. I can't remember who I gave it to last week, but I'm pretty sure it was Carlos Sainz. But I actually wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was Lando Norris. I think I gave it to last week. I'm going to probably go with Carlos Sainz. I think. I mean, that was a bit of a fucking shit fest.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's no other option really, other than I think that Alpine somewhat hung out Pierre Gasly today. I would have given it to Pierre Gasly for how he has been treated at Alpine, but it has to be Sainz. Yeah, there's no other option really.
Like, I could have argued Hamilton. Like, Hamilton's car was just fucking, like, he just wasn't going anywhere in that car. Like, I mean, he finished what did he finish 9th and started 11th or something like that? Did he?
Yeah. Start P11, finish P9.
So, but anyway, no, I'm giving it to Sainz. So,
right, Cedro.
My loser will be entire Ferrari team. They start this weekend with 4 points to get to the championship, and they end up 3 points behind Mercedes. just one driver finishing. So yeah, Ferrari's a loser team.
The whole team. Like,
Wow.
Well, they
one of
finished
them
third.
finished second.
Doesn't really matter, did it?
No, but I mean, the reason that like had signs of had a decent fucking race, they would have won or come second in the constructors. So
If
Harsh, man.
that's very harsh. Jesus. You want to check yourself for 2024, Zedro?
I mean, there's so many other choices there. Williams had a pretty shitty weekend again. Does
but
anyone know
Ferrari
if the
was-
Haas teams turned up to the grid at all? Were they there?
Were they there? Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I think they went through the fucking Pizza Hut drive-through and went home.
Yeah, I didn't see a Haas at all today. Crazy.
K-Mag went to the pits at lap 6, I think,
And didn't come back out.
and he stayed in the bottom all the
Well,
way.
he finished one lap. He won't finish one lap down. Where did Hulkenberg finish? 15th. Yeah, I didn't see any of them. Do you know? And the funny thing is, Logan Sargent finished behind Hulkenberg, and I remember the Williams throughout the race.
Yeah. What is with that? Logan Sargent. Ooh, not a great rookie season. Anyway, yeah, Dave, will we go on? Let's.
Yeah. So what were we on? Race predictions, is it?
I think we're there. Should we probably sum up the results for the Fantasy F1 wouldn't be in
Well, we're
yet,
still
would
on
they?
fucking calculating. Hang on a second. Let me do another
Yeah.
fucking refresh here.
That'll probably be probably next week. We can sum up everything all in one go, maybe.
Yeah, we do our season predictions next week, as well as the fantasy and our grand winner is. Yeah, it's still calculating fucking results and stuff. Well,
Let's
pretty
leave-
sure
let's leave
shit.
that
No,
then.
I didn't win it anyway. No, you two boys didn't win it.
All right, let's go down to the to our race predictions.
All right. Race predictions for the last race of the season. I had Max Verstappen P1. Obviously, that did happen. Now, I had Perez P2, which technically.
No, don't. You can't.
Oh,
All right. Oh wait, I put 0 here beside fucking Max Verstappen. What am I doing? Okay, so Perez is a goose egg, and Norris is P3. I went with, and that is also a goose egg.
Okay, so I went Max Verstappen P1, which happened. I went Charles Leclerc P2, which happened. And I went Perez 3, and it nearly happened only for him ramming.
Now I'm just gonna say
that was nearly
I'm
a
just
clean
gonna
slate.
say Leclerc finished P2 after penalties. He didn't
up,
he didn't actually
up,
finish he didn't
up
cross the
your
line in
arse.
P2.
Up your
the
arse.
official
You can
result
take
is
that.
Leclerc second place.
He's P2.
That's the official result.
Get out of that garden, you
Just saying. Just
messer.
stating my case.
you
No.
messer.
You're just making up rules as you go along.
Right, go
All
on,
right,
Isidro.
Isidro, who did you
I
get?
went to Verstappen first, Alonso second, Perez third place.
Right. Now we get into the fucking interesting side of things. Hang on, I have
Yes,
to bring
we
up the fucking race
do.
results now to fucking see what.
Stroll
what did
finished
happen.
P10.
Oh yeah, thanks for that, Stroll.
Just about. I noticed he was way back the grid at one stage. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna happen, but he saved
what
it.
an absolute fucking battle sausage.
The boy hands. Yeah, my one wasn't great either. I said an Ocon DNF.
P12 for
Crap.
Ocon.
Yeah,
And I got Ocon outside top 10. He finished
Yeah.
P12.
God, I should have gone for outside the top 10 with Ocon as well.
Gasly top 10. I mean, that should have happened.
Yeah,
It didn't.
only for Alpine hanging him out.
Yeah.
I had the same thing. I said Gasly top 10. Did not happen.
So,
And Williams disappointed. I got
What's
Albon
that?
top 10. Williams disappointed me.
Yeah. So, sorry. Yeah. So Isidro.
Albon
yeah, sorry,
P14.
Alex Albon for Isidro, and 14th outside top 10. Goose egg. All right. Well, the point of all this though is that I got no points, and Isidro and Scotty both get 1 point each.
What does
which
that mean,
now
Dave?
means The tables look like a load of bollocks. That we've all finished on
Woo!
exactly 12 points. We're all
Awesome.
joint last.
We are all winners.
Absolutely
we all get
amazing.
participation medal.
Yeah.
I
Charles
thought when you
Leclerc.
said it was going to be interesting, Scotty, I thought it was going to be, fuck it, it's me and you that are fucking tied for the top. And no, it's all fucking three of us. Jesus.
There was a stage a few weeks ago when you were streaks ahead, Dave, but you fell way off. Holy
Yeah,
moly.
I know. I went big air a few times just to make myself look impressive, and it fucking backfired.
Yeah.
And now I look like a loser.
We
with
all
you
look
boys.
like losers.
So the big question is, right? We can either all take a third of a medal each, or we could take I'll take a handle, Scotty, you take a handle, and fucking Isidro will take the center of the cup. Or we can come up with a title decider. And we come up with a title decider, and we do the title decider on our roundup, our season roundup in 2 weeks' time. Or we base our whoever has the best season predictions, because we don't forget we did season predictions that no one I can remember what we fucking voted for.
Yes.
So we can say whoever wins the season predictions also takes the race prediction trophy.
Yeah, that sounds good
Let's
to me.
go with that. Season
go with that
prediction, did the tiebreaker.
Scrambling
nobody
to see
look.
where.
Do not start looking. Do you know what? Hang on a second. You're gonna download it and then delete it from the fucking shared drive.
Yeah, do actually do that. Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Although wait a second. If you download it, then you're going to be like, oh, I'll just change
No,
it a
I
little
can
bit.
definitely All right, I'll leave it there. We'll just trust that everybody doesn't fucking look at it.
Okay.
I know for a fact you're looking at it, Scotty.
No. I just want to check. It's on Google Sheets, is it? I'm going to check the date
Check it's still
beside it,
there.
when
Check
it was
it's
last
open.
checked. Yeah. So where was it? Season. What's the title of it?
Do you know? I actually
Race
don't know.
predictions.
Season prediction 23.
maybe.
Yeah, 8th of May. Dave Jericho. That's the last time it was opened.
Oh,
So-
does that take?
Last
No, that's just last
modified.
modified. Does it show the last day it was opened?
Oh
No, it's just modified.
owned.
Wait.
Yeah, no, just last modified. Okay.
I don't even know where it is.
Um,
The 2020 is it in the 2023 folder. Where is it? Oh, there
Yeah.
it is. I see it there. Season prediction 8th of May. Yeah.
So what do we do? Maybe we all download it and don't look at it, and we can open it at the same time. Does that sound
Well,
good?
we don't need to download it and not look at it. It's in the Google Share Drive.
I know. I really want to look
We are
at it
now just
though.
making ourselves look like absolute morons live on a podcast.
I don't fucking trust either of you. Okay, it doesn't matter.
No, yeah, okay. I'm gonna trust that no one's gonna look at it, and we're gonna fucking hit it on fucking in 2 weeks' time for our
Okay,
season roundup.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, look, I think that's it for the 2023 season. We will be back in 2 weeks for our roundup of the season, the drivers, the points finishing, the constructors, the drivers' title, and also our most obviously clearly important our season predictions, and how not only is that going to knock on about who wins the season predictions, but it will have a knock on who wins our overall race prediction table as well. So yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Until then, rest in peace, Terry Venables.